Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here, and welcome to another art journal tutorial. Today we're doing something a little different. We are fixing a page that I did not like. It just got too dark, and while I like the vintage feel and I love the texture, every time I flip through my journal, I didn't like it. So you know what? I decided why not give it a go, and I thought I'd bring you along. So what I'm doing is I'm going to save the butterfly. And that is about all I'm going to save off of this, along with the texture from the collage elements, from the modeling paste that was in that first layer. I'm just taking a coat of gesso, clear, plain white gesso, and I'm going right over top of everything. I find it is the easiest to use an angle brush. I find it gets into the nooks and crannies, gets really close up, and it makes it easier than maybe a flat brush. So if you're struggling with your brush, that might be something you may want to give it a try. So I'm just giving this a good coat of gesso because I'm going to basically redo the background. Minus, I'm going to still utilize, you can see the texture that has the modeling page through the stencil that I had there. I'm going right over the letters. I'm thinking that might show a little bit because it's a little bit raised, dimensional, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Now, legitimately, I could have thrown this out. There's nothing on the background of this. I could have thrown it out. Nobody would be the wiser. But I thought, if you don't like something that's in your art journal, you do not have to keep it if it's bringing up negative feelings. Now, I know some people might look at that page and say, yeah, I love it, Karen. It was great. The point is, I didn't. So I don't have to live with it. I can change it. And I thought I'd, take on the challenge of changing it. Just giving this a coat of gesso. I'm letting the dry in between. Now it's like, what colors am I going to put on this? So I grab my Naples yellow and a little bit of orange and some white gesso, and I'm just mixing that. Basically, I want this to be the parchment colors. I'm still kind of going after where I wanted this to go initially. There, I've grabbed my angle brush to get in close to the butterfly. And I know if I get acrylic paint onto that butterfly, I can take a baby wipe and wipe it off. In the top left-hand corner there, I put a little bit of that orange in. I didn't use much of it. There's just a slight blush of it, and it really adds to that page. If you haven't used Naples yellow, I suggest that you get it. It's a lovely, creamy, soft, opaque yellow that I find I reach for time and time again. Just adding a little bit of orange, add some interest into the background. Now there's many things, like if I really wanted to do it, I would have turned this on different landscape, different orientation. I could change it, but I couldn't change that because we're dealing with it. Now I'm going to have to work around that butterfly. So I grabbed this layered wallpaper stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and I'm stenciling with burnt umber. And I want to build back that vintage feeling that I had, that old tattered wallpaper that also goes with the modeling paste stenciling that I did on the other side with the other stencil. All the stencils will be listed in the description box below, and you can access them in either from my Amazon links, the TCW Shopify store, or from Ninny's Napkins. So, check out if you're Canadian or shipping is a problem, you may want to check out Ninny's Napkins. If she doesn't have them, she will bring them in. So I'm liking the look of that. I rubbed the brown on top of the modeling paste to bring out that stenciling in detail. Now I'm coming in with my French script stamp and adding this with black archival ink because it is permanent, adding some details. And now it's kind of getting that vintage feel. I added black there because I'm thinking the brown, it just looked too one tone to me. Now I'm edging it with black and I like that look. And this is giving me the idea that I need more black in or contrast in the background. The background is lovely, but it doesn't seem to have that connection with the butterfly yet. And that's what I'm working to achieve. Now I'm using the angle brush here and I'm using the floating acrylic technique and I am shading around the butterfly with the black paint. Now this is a technique and you can go and find that video on my YouTube channel if you want to learn how to do this. If you don't, you can shade using a charcoal pencil, using your Stabilo All pencil, going around it and smudging. There are lots of ways that you can achieve the same look with different techniques. The key is finding one that works for you, that you can do successfully. So take a good look at this background, because I'm going to ask you if you would have left it here. I do go on and I add a lot more to it because I felt I needed to. But I also, when looking back, I'm wondering, well, could I have just left it here? Now, obviously, in the midst of creating, somehow this was lacking to me. Here I'm shading inside the modeling paste, just adding, again, all those little details. It's those little things that just add up and take a page from, okay, to wow. I spend time just bringing out the elements that are there. And you, as the artist, can decide which elements you want to bring to the front. Now, I chose two stencils that worked well together. Then I grabbed this stencil, and for some reason, I felt that I needed red. This one's called Retroburst. It's one of my favorites. I have it both in the 12-inch and the 6-inch that you're seeing here. And I'm just stenciling it into the background. And this is making it feel very much like it's old vintage wallpaper. And I am loving that look. And that red, it ties in the red of the butterfly a little bit more. I do wonder whether I overdid it. I put too much in the background. But that's the joy of experimenting. And at the end of the day, it's paper and paint. And I'm having fun getting creative. So once that dried, I just decided I had leftover paint, so I grabbed some deli paper and I am just stenciling. I've already stenciled some gold on there. I'm just stenciling the red. And this is a good thing to have. Have some deli paper, have some blank piece of paper, and when you have leftover paint and a dirty stencil, put it on that paper, and then that goes in your stash to be used for another project. And you'd be surprised how often I reach for those little bits that are right there. So there are the two stencils that I've added to the background. That will be in the description box below, so please check those out. Now I'm deciding on sentiments, and this is from my short and sweet sentiment pack. And this one I printed out on the clear Avery tab. So I know that the background is going to come through and the black print is going to shine. And this, instead of putting white on, which would be really stark and wouldn't seem to fit, this is going to blend a little bit better. So it's a great use of that clear Avery. And who doesn't love a peel and stick, right? And I put this down and it becomes very, very matte, which I love. I didn't want the sentiment in this case to take over the rest of the page. But I did decide to line this with my Sakura Glaze Black Pen. And if you haven't tried it, OMG people, that Sakura Glaze is a wonderful liner pen. It is permanent when dry, it's glossy and dimensional. And I love using it. And as you can see, then I decided I'm going to outline all these retro bursts from this stencil. I'm going to do some doodling with it. And I am not someone who really does a lot of doodling, but when I've got my Sakura glaze pen in my hand, oh my goodness, I can go to town with it. Now I'm going very quickly and very roughly. It is not precise in any imagination. But I really felt that this needed that black in there. This step really added a lot to the page in my estimation. Then I splattered with black paint all over. Let that dry a little bit, and then I came back and I splattered with gold because, well, you need bling. There's close-ups of the original page and then the finished page. I hope you like this. So if you have a page in your art journal that you really don't like, you can do something about it. I hope this inspired you. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Share this with your crafty friends. And please, please go over to Instagram and follow me at Creative Katie. Bye.